and Jagrative, Jai Masters. Since you're very special, we'll have a talk tonight that I shouldn't give. But I'm going to anyways. We titled the new book, Living Untethered. The subtitle was Beyond the Human Predicament. Perhaps it should have been Living Untethered, What to Do While You're Not Meditating. So we'll start with the fact that my guru, Yogananda, all he taught was meditation. Everything was meditation. The whole path is meditation. Every second is meditation. Don't eat, don't sleep, just meditate. So I was weaned on that since 71. As you mature on the path and you grow, at some point, if you really, really go deep, the question becomes, why? Now listen to me. You should meditate. Don't get me in trouble. You should meditate. This is what to do when you're not meditating. Okay, we got this straight. Why do you need to meditate? And they're going to tell you, because you have anxiety, because you feel distant from God, because you've lost yourself. Well, the deeper question is, why do you have anxiety? Why do you feel distant from God? Why have you lost yourself? Not, what do I do because of that? Buddhists say work at the root. So I've always been that kind of a seeker. Over time, I've learned to do that. Because, and again, don't take this wrong, you shouldn't need to meditate. You should be filled with ecstasy and joy and love, with a constant upward rush. Seriously, not figuratively. The Bible talks about the rush of holy waters. Yogananda talks about a constant river of joy that is flowing inside of you and never stops and has never stopped. Well, if that's true, why do I need to meditate? If that's going on inside of me, why don't I just feel that? The Old Testament says man was created in the image of God. I don't think God needs to meditate. I don't think God's feeling anxiety. Well, if you're made in the image of, I don't understand why you don't feel God, why you don't feel that. Well, that's what the spiritual path is. Again, I have to say it over and over because you'll get me wrong. Meditation is a wonderful technique. It's a technique for getting back to your natural state. It is not your natural state. It's a technique. It's called a meditation technique, isn't it? And you should do it. It's wonderful. I used to meditate 6 hours a day. Get that straight. I'm not saying not to meditate. I'm asking you a very simple question. If you're made in the image of God, and God is pure ecstasy and perfection, then what's going on? Why do you need techniques to be who you are? Do you need a technique to breathe? I'm not talking about pranayama. I'm just saying, do you need a technique to breathe? You've been breathing your whole life. Do you need a technique for your heart to beat? You need a technique for the food you eat to digest in your stomach? You need a technique so that the immune system knocks off, at least reasonably, bacteria and problems that happen in there? You need a technique for your kidney to purify your blood and the liver to purify your body? It's natural. It's who your body is. It's natural. I'm having a talk with you that I should not have. You should not need any techniques at all to be enlightened, because you already are. I've told you that before. It is not how to get back to God. It's how to stop leaving. And someday when you go deep enough, you will understand that. Your consciousness is in the source of consciousness. The ocean is in the source of the ocean. It's the ocean. Any place you go, it's the ocean. Any place you go inside, it's consciousness. You're conscious of your thoughts. You're conscious of your emotions. You're conscious of your body. You're conscious of the world coming through your senses, aren't you? The exact same consciousness at all times is aware of all those things. You're aware of emotions at the same time you're aware of thoughts, at the same time you're aware of who said what that caused the emotion of the thoughts. The person's separate, the emotion's separate, the thought is separate, but you who's experiencing it are not separate. It's so simple, but no one will pay attention. Right now, just don't move, just look what's in front of you. How hard was that? You need a technique for seeing? No, but don't you see everything at once? Isn't that like one part of you sees her and then him, and you better mish it all together? That's what they mean by non-duality. Your experience of seeing what's in front of you is a non-dual experience. You see it all at once, don't you? You have to have separate pieces and glue them together and make sense. You don't need your mind. Do you need your mind to see? I did that, I think, in the Untethered Soul. I painted a picture for you, saying, okay, I want a great artist to call you on the phone. They're at a distant place. And I want you to describe, nothing complicated, what's in front of you. Just like here, what's in front of you. Describe it. And I want that artist to paint it. And I want it to look the same as if the artist was seeing it. Because you're seeing it, you tell them everything. How long it would take you? You know how imperfect that painting would be? It's not even close. Like the shades of her hair, each one is different. And the shades, look at the knots in the wood. How are you going to communicate all that? And it takes you no time, not even a bit of a second, to just see. That's what the Buddhists mean by just seeing. You're already there. You're already non-dual. You're already just seeing. It is the same consciousness that sees all of it, isn't it? Try to use your mind to describe it. That's the difference. You don't need that mind to do that, do you? It would slow it down so much, it's ridiculous. What if you had to say to yourself every single thing you're seeing in order to know that you saw it? I'm talking deep. We're talking really deep. So you've heard the word non-dual. That's like Zen, Buddhist, deep stuff, non-dualism. You are non-dualistic. When you see it all at once, there's just one you. The seer is seeing the seen instantaneously, no effort, no techniques, no anything. All right? That is not only true outside of you, it is true inside of you. But I'll tell you why it doesn't seem like that. Outside, okay, yes, I see. I'm telling you, you see your thoughts exactly the same as you see this world. You see your emotions exactly the same as you see this world. And you see them all simultaneously, just like I see her and him and the pillow at the same time. You see your thoughts, you see your emotions at the same time. But let me tell you a secret. If someone you love or despise more than anything in the world is sitting over there, you don't see the rest. It's not all the same. Now, it's very dualistic. That is different from everything else, isn't it? And it draws your consciousness to it. And so you focus on it differently from everything else, even though nobody else does in the room, because they don't have that issue with that person. That's what creates duality. There is no duality. But if you, the consciousness, your being, is distracted by one thing completely separate from the rest, you've just said that thing's separate. It's not separate to anybody else. And maybe it wasn't even separate to you 5 minutes ago. But because you heard something or thought something, now boom. That's what happens inside of you. All your thoughts are not the same. They are so. They're thoughts. No, they're not. The thought of what Mommy did to me when I was little, she took the blanket, is not the same as the white lines on the road. Yes, it is. It's just a thought. But it's not the same to you. Just the same as if you don't like that person or like that person, then in the room it doesn't look the same. Can anybody understand that? Same thing with your emotions. The emotion of fear and the emotion of bravery, the emotion of hatred and the emotion of love, they're emotions, they're energy patterns that you're experiencing, aren't they? They come and they go, but you don't let them. You don't let them come and go. This one is different. It's different to feel, I don't feel comfortable with you versus I feel really comfortable with you. They're just feelings. It's all the same, but not to you. That's what creates duality. That's what makes it different. So you can't sit in there and just see outside. You can do that pretty good, usually. Okay, not always. But you can just see outside and at the same time just hear or notice your thoughts and just feel your emotions and just be there. Just be the being who is seeing all of that, experiencing all of that. Okay? That's why you leave God. What do you mean? The consciousness is God. It is in God. It is of God. There's only one consciousness in the universe. It's not like in the 60s we talk about universal consciousness. I don't get into that, right? Your consciousness is consciousness. I always say, the ocean is there all the time. Pick up a spoonful of ocean. What do you have? Ocean. And put it back. It's ocean. You can't even find it again. That's what consciousness is. It's just a field of consciousness. But it is distracted by your thoughts, your emotions, what you see through your senses, and yours, and yours, and yours, and yours, like rays from the sun. They're all the same, aren't they? But they hit different things, don't they? This illumines this, illumines this, illumines that. The objects that the ray falls on is irrelevant. It's still a ray that's attached, not even attached to the sun. It is the sun. There's no difference than the sun and its rays, is there? Or there's no difference between consciousness and what it's looking at. The object, I call it the object of consciousness. Your thoughts are the object of your consciousness. Your emotions are the object of your consciousness, all of them. Here, don't pay attention to your thoughts. Then you don't have any. They must not be there. What you think I mean when I say don't pay attention to your thoughts is I'm paying attention to them, I'm going to push them away. No, then you paid attention to them first. In order to suppress something, you have to separate it from the rest and push it away. That is not non-dual. No, you're not. You got serious problems. You're sitting on top of a volcano. The very things you didn't like, you pushed away and stored inside. And so what Freud called your subconscious, there's only one consciousness, but what your conscious is aware of in the subconscious is that which you don't want to be aware of. That which you pushed away, you suppressed it, okay? But obviously you're aware of it. You wouldn't be suppressing it. Do you understand that? What happens if it comes back up? You push it back down. Don't you dare talk to me like that. My father talked to me like that. You better say you're sorry. Congratulations. You stored Daddy down there, and what he said, the one thing he did, whatever it is, you stored it down there, and if it comes back up, you can store it down there again. So you are the consciousness, and there's just one of you in there, and you're doing all this stuff because you can't handle reality, because you can't handle things. And so you try to manipulate and control your thoughts and emotions, and because you can't manipulate your thoughts and emotions very well, you try to manipulate everything in the world so they only create the thoughts and emotions that you can handle, and they never, ever handle the ones you can't handle. That is why I named it Living Untethered Beyond the Human Predicament. That's the human predicament. You need things to be a certain way because you can't handle yourself. Is that true or not? That's a tough thing to be aware of. A master sees everything the same. God sees everything the same. But if you can't handle what she said, inside it didn't feel good, then she better not say it. And one way I make her not say it is never talk to her. Avoid her when I see her coming. Or if I'm married and in a relationship and I'm very committed, but somehow my heart is being very bad and it's pumping out the feeling love for somebody else and getting all excited with that kind of thing, all right? No, I can't handle that, so I never see the person. We manipulate our environment because we can't handle ourselves. Otherwise, you're back to the garden. Everything's the same. It's just all creation, and you're experiencing, and experiences come in, pass through, you learn from them, you enjoy them, you appreciate them. They're just all vibrations of energy. And to a great being, all vibrations are the same. All thoughts are the same, all emotions are the same, all the world is the same. But just because I know your mind has trouble with this, it doesn't mean you don't do anything about it. Listen to me. It doesn't mean you're sitting in a cave somewhere because it's all the same. I don't have a problem with it, so am I doing anything? When you don't have a problem with it, you will not have a problem with you. If you don't have a problem with you, you will feel your natural state. You will feel that river of joy. You'll feel love. You'll feel absolute ecstasy pouring inside of you all the time. And guess what? Love loves to express itself. Joy loves to appreciate. Inspiration loves to create. That's why you end up doing things. Not, I can't handle this, so I'm going to manipulate it to be what I need it to be so I can be okay, or relatively okay. That's called relative well-being. I'm only okay when things are a certain way. So this is what we're talking about. Why is it like that? Why don't you be in your natural state of feeling joy, love, God, bliss, and then serve? And you see, what happens when it's said and done, you're not doing things for you. There's nothing to do for you. It's not like I'm supposed to be like this, and I'm not supposed to be selfish. I'm supposed to love my neighbor as myself. Everything Christ taught was the state that you should be in, not that you should try to be in. Love the enemy. You don't even know it is an enemy. I told you. You want to know when you're in a high state? When you're standing here talking to your friends, and if somebody comes across the street over there, and you stop and you say, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. They love me so much. Oh my God, they think I walk on water. Wait, do you see? It's embarrassing. Wait, do you see what they're going to say? They come over and say, all these effusive things about you and how beautiful you are, and I've always loved you. And okay, fine. You handled it. You didn't get weird. Okay? Now, 10 minutes later, you see somebody coming across that hates your guts. They cannot stand the sight of you. And you say to your friends, oh God, here he comes. When you see, he hates me so much. He's going to say so many mean things. And you're exactly the same about both of those two things. That's non-dualism. It doesn't mean you reach a state where everything's nice. It's nice because it's something you experience, and that's a nice experience. It's just beautiful. That's how you love your enemy. They say they're your enemy, but you don't. I mean, it's okay. It's just a person coming here that doesn't like me and says mean things. Okay? So basically the high state is something you should not have to work to achieve. You're already there. And when you're in that high state, it is not that you don't work with the world and work with people or interact with the world, but you don't do it in order to make you be okay. Why? Because you're already okay. It's not renunciation. Renunciation is I'm not okay, and there's ways I need certain things to be, so I'll either be okay or won't be worse. In the name of God, I'm not going to do them. I bet you don't like God very much. How do you love that God that you just gave up everything you ever wanted, that you think you want, you think's important to you? No. What spiritual growth is about, you are done with all that. You are feeling tremendous joy and love. You're not differentiating what you like from what you dislike. People ask me sometimes, but how do I get rid of my preferences? You don't. You do not get rid of your preferences. You get rid of the cause of your preferences. That's a whole different ball game. There's a reason you have preferences. If that reason is gone, you'll find you don't have preferences. It's all the same. It's all one. That's where I want you to go. It's a lot nicer. It's not a struggle. It's not that kind of forceful thing that you're doing inside. So the question comes down to what we started with. Why am I not okay? Why, if it's true that I am God descendant, and it is true, that's all that's happening. Your consciousness is merged in the ocean of consciousness. There's not even a your consciousness. There's just consciousness. Okay? And it is aware of things. And it's aware of your thoughts and your emotions and your body and what you see through your senses. And that goes for every one of the yours. It's like a ray of consciousness. Okay? But it's still, the sun still sits in the sky even though its rays hit the earth. It doesn't come down to visit. Right? It's not true it's descended. It's just its nature. The light's nature is to shine. The light that's sitting here shining on the picture doesn't have to leave its seat. It's there, but it emanates. That is the nature of light. That's the nature of consciousness. It's aware of what it's falling on, isn't it? Are you aware of your thoughts? Just say no, and you'll be total meditation. Don't worry about it. Okay? It's because you are aware of your thoughts that your consciousness gets distracted by them, and then you get caught in being distracted by your particular set of thoughts. Are you distracted by all your thoughts? No. 99% of your thoughts, 99% of what you see in this world goes right through. You see stars, you see clouds, you see grass on the ground, you see tree, right or wrong. You see millions and millions of things every day. Not all of them distract you. Only the ones you got something going about, all right? And they pull your consciousness down to them, and now that's what a human being is. Distracted God. It is consciousness that got caught. That's the fall from the garden. That's literally the fall from the garden. That consciousness got caught focusing on your individuality. It's called the tree of self-knowledge. Now you know yourself. How did Adam know he was naked? Every single animal's naked. They went, oh my God, I'm naked. Do they? It's because the consciousness got a little too focused on the individuality of that one little thing called this one stupid body of the whole universe. And all of a sudden it became self-conscious. You know, that self-conscious is a very deep concept in spirituality. That's why you're not with God, because you're with you. When the Bible says, the Lord your God is a jealous God, it means if you are focused on anything other than the self, you're not focused on God. You're focused on you. Your focus is on your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and what you see through your senses. Well, that's not God. That's God, but it's God lost in you. When Christ said you must die to be reborn, that's exactly what he's talking about. You have to let go of being who you're not, your self-concept, right? If you let go of staring at yourself, you will realize the one who's staring is the universe, is everything. So I said, you don't have to go back to God, you have to stop leaving. Now you get it? Here, I'm sitting here in the chair, I'm seeing all you guys, but that picture's distracting me tremendously. In order to see you all, I have to stop looking at a stupid picture. Not really. I can still look at the picture, but not look at it as different from everything else. It doesn't have to be taken down, all right, for me to not look at it. I just have to stop having a thing going about it, all right? If I have nothing going about it, it's just like every other picture, just like everybody else. I can just see. It's called just seeing. But I do have something going about it. So in order to just see, I have to die to be reborn. I have to stop being fixated on me in order to know who it is that's fixated on me, which is the divine energy. God, if you guys get that, you're getting deep stuff. And where do we start this? Why do I need to meditate? You don't, but you do. Right? You do because you are fixated on yourself. Who is? God. God is fixated. That ray of light of consciousness, which is one with all consciousness, just like the ray from the sun is still the sun, is fixated on your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and what's coming in through your senses. So what we try to do spiritually really is not, don't say we try to meditate. We try to free our consciousness from its fixation to the object of consciousness. If you read Patanjali Yoga Sutras and you do that with that in your mind, you'll understand very much what he's saying. Pratyahara is the ability to remove your consciousness from your senses. That's literally what pratyahara is. I don't know all this stuff. I don't study all that stuff. But you should. You can. All right? But basically he says pratyahara is to remove your consciousness from the senses. I just told you, it's because they're addicted to the senses. If you're busy, here, meditate while you're listening to everything that's going on in the room. How well do you do? That's ridiculous, right? So you have to at least be willing to withdraw your consciousness from the senses. Or you wouldn't even call it meditation. You're distracted by the senses. You have to at least not be. Isn't that what I just taught you? That to go back all the way up, you have to stop being distracted by what you're paying attention to. So that's why you need to meditate, to learn how to not do that. He defines pratyahara that, and then dharana is the second stage. He says, now that you've removed your consciousness from the senses, learn to focus the consciousness, called concentration, on a single object. He does not say that concentration is meditation. The Yoga Sutra Prancha is very deep stuff. He doesn't call that. He calls it dharana, all right? There's another stage that's meditation. Perfect concentration is not meditation. Might as well be, because we can't even do it. And most of us can't even withdraw our consciousness from the senses, right? Now he's saying once the consciousness is withdrawn from the senses, can you focus it on a single object? Why would I focus on a single object? Because otherwise it's focused on all your thoughts and all your emotions and all that garbage. You can withdraw your consciousness from your senses. You do it every night. You do it every night. You still have dreams. You still think things. It still goes on in your mental and emotional bodies. If you can focus your consciousness on one single, a candle or this, a thought, your third eye, whatever it is, focus your consciousness on one thing. That means that's not that's so holy. It's that it's not distracted by all the other things. All right? Now what? Now take that focus of consciousness, and instead of focusing on an object of consciousness, focus it on the source of consciousness. And I'm going to cry to talk about it at that level. That's very deep stuff. In other words, I told you, it's like the light of the sun. It's shining down, all right? It was shining on these objects. Now it's aware of the rays that it is. It's focusing it. What if you took that awareness, that focus, and moved it back to focusing on consciousness itself? That's meditation. That's dhyana. That's the Yoga Sutras. That's deep stuff. But it's everything we just talked about, isn't it? You're already there, but you're distracted by the world, your senses, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and you're lost. That's why I called it Beyond the Human Predicament, all right? But I could have called it, Why Do You Need to Meditate? Now you understand. You need to meditate because even though you are, people often say that. If Christ said, I'm God, he said, as I sit by the throne of my Father, you sit by my throne. These things I do, you should do these even greater things. That's not a seat. It's a seat of consciousness. His consciousness sat in that high state. My Father and I are one. Everything makes sense if you understand what I'm teaching you. All the teachings of all the masters, you're already there, but you are projecting your consciousness onto the objects of consciousness, and you can't get them off. And no different than a heroin addict has trouble getting off heroin. They're very one-pointed. So are you. You're very one-pointed on you. Like, what do I want? What do I need? And what should everybody else be doing? And how do I get what I want? And how do I be okay? And I want to feel love. And I don't want to feel fear. And how do I... a little bit of I going on there. I. All right? That's because you're distracted by this set. I call it the three-ring circus in the new book, right? Body, outside world, thoughts, and emotions. They are rather distracting. Most people will never, ever, ever even begin in this lifetime to remove the focus of their consciousness off of mind, emotions, body, and form. They are completely lost. All right? And I told you what happens when you do that is because you're not okay with what comes in. That's why you're distracted by it. Either you like it so much that you can't let it go, Buddhists call it clinging, or you despise it so much that you can't bear to even think it's there. Both have distracted you. They distracted your consciousness onto those objects. So now what you must do in order to be okay is manipulate the world, compete with everybody else, dress a certain way, drive a certain car, impress everybody certain things so that you can feel okay with what you're addicted to. Just like a heroin addict. Look, a heroin addict said, no, wait a minute, you don't understand. Wait till you see how much better I do when I get the heroin. I don't shake anymore. All kinds of things. Should we give him the heroin? No. Why? You need to go through withdrawal. Well, so do you. That's what Christ means by dying to be reborn. You go through withdrawal of the addiction of focusing on yourself. Not easy. But now you understand why you need to meditate. Is that the only way to do this? All right? Actually, I told you, the subtitle of the book could be What to Do While You're Not Meditating. So now that we understand the predicament, why we don't feel one with God, even though you are, why we don't feel ecstasy, literally joy, ecstasy, pouring up inside of you, even though it's going on right now. That river of ecstasy and joy and love is flowing inside of every single one of you right now. No matter what you ever did, doesn't make any difference. Well, why don't I feel it? Because you're busy being you. You're busy being Here, that picture I'm so focused on. You tell me there's another picture behind me. It's made of gold. It's gorgeous. I don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. If my consciousness is focused on something else, I don't see what it's not focused on. So that's what's happening. Your consciousness, behind it all, is pure joy, pure love, pure God, pure ecstasy, just total, absolute, unconditional, eternal well-being. That's who you are. Satchidananda, as the yoga calls it. Satchidananda, eternal, conscious ecstasy. They call what that? They call you inside, your consciousness, your individuality, is really Satchidananda, your soul, call it whatever you want, Atman, and God. The name for God is Satchidananda. They have the same name. Why? Because man was created in the image of God. Why should they not have the same name? They're the same ocean. They're the same thing. But you don't experience it because you're busy experiencing you. Experiencing what you like and what you don't like and what somebody said. Your whole past is stored inside of you. It's you, you, you. The Beatles sang a song once, I, me, mine, all the time, I, me, mine. That's what's going on inside. And it distracts your consciousness. Therefore, that's what you're feeling. Now, what do you do about it? You can meditate. You should. You meditate. You try to withdraw from the senses, withdraw from the thoughts, focus, get back. And you can. People come and say, oh my God, I had this unbelievable experience. I felt I was one with God, and I met a beautiful soul, Edgar Mitchell. He founded the Institute of Nomadic Sciences. He was an astronaut, went to the moon. He came and visited me. And he had an experience. He was an MIT engineer. And when he was coming back on the limb or whatever it was, when he was returning, took a day or two, whatever it is, come back from the moon, and he was alone in that area by himself. And he had a merger experience. He had the transcendental experience that the great masters talk about. He felt he was the universe. He wasn't looking at the universe. He was the universe. He was every star. He was every galaxy. It just, boom. But then he came back. All right? And he founded in the Institute of Nomadic Sciences, IONS, which his question was, he told me, how can that be? How can consciousness be form? What is the relation between consciousness and form? That's what they studied IONS. From a scientific point of view, what is consciousness? What is form? How can consciousness be form? How can it feel form? And so on. All right? So you can have an experience. People come to me a lot of times. I had this experience. Oh my God, I had this experience. I saw this. I saw that. It's always in the past tense. It's really amazing. Right? I saw Christ. I saw Buddha. I saw this. I saw that. I merged with the universe. When? 3 years ago. I'm telling everybody about it. I told you, what impresses me is not your experience. It's your state. Not what spiritual experience you had. It's your state of being. You're capable of being in that state all the time, effortlessly. That's where the great ones are, the great masters. All right? And that's what I'd love you to be. That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? But doesn't mean interact with the world. You marry, have children. Why? Because it's there. You express your love. You express the creativity of your being. But you're not doing it to get something. It's not that I'm not okay. Here we're in a family. We had a child. And it was good. But now the relationship is really bad. Maybe we should have another kid. I don't want to be that kid. If on the other hand, you're just living your life, you're filled with love and you have children, that's wonderful, it's beautiful, spread your love. But not, they are the reason I'm okay. I was terrible and I was really screwed up and I felt no love and then I met you. You're the meaning of my life. Run. Why? I guarantee you, he or she is not the meaning of your life. It's that you lost the meaning of your life, which is inside, and you're trying to compensate because you feel some openness in the presence of another person. So basically, again, it's living untethered, what to do while you're not meditating. There's work that you can do that is as high as, or now comes the lightning, higher than pushing your way to reach a nice experience and then coming back. There are great masters who talked this way. Thank God. Makes me feel a little more comfortable. Mayor Baba talked this way. He talked against samadhi. He said he goes to India. He sees them. They're in this breathless state. They stay there for days. You can put mirrors under their nose. There's no breath. There's no nothing. They're just filled with joy and love. And then they come back and start yelling at everybody. Hey, man, I was gone. I told you to do this. You didn't do it. But, you know, it's the question of, are you done? I'm going to say it again. Are you done being you? Are you done being you? Now the answer is no, I'm not. Okay, then you're going to go through experiences that you need to go through in order to learn that they're not what you thought they were. There's not a single thing that you will ever experience in this life that's going with you when you die. And it wasn't there when you were born. Right? It's like, that can't be the meaning of life. The meaning of life is way, way greater. The meaning of life is self-realization. The meaning of life is God realization. And that's what Christ taught. That's what all the great ones taught. That's the meaning of life, is your relationship with God. But not your relationship with God. You, God. I don't want you, oh yes, now I have a relationship with God. And I think of that all the time. And this is what I like. And I like people who think the way I do, who like God. And I don't like people who don't believe in God. That's just another ego. It's just another thing to be. That's great. You're another human being. You're not a human being. You're a great being. You're God descended. You're a very great being. You have tremendous ecstasy and joy inside of you, but you're busy with being you. So how do you get done being you? Can you imagine? Imagine wake up in the morning and just being excited that you woke up. There's nothing you need to happen for you to be okay. You are so okay. If you're alone or there's somebody with you, it's fine. There's somebody okay. There's nobody here. It's wonderful. I'm filled with joy. How would you like that? That's where I want you, by the way. Okay? I care about you. And I know you're capable of it. I'm not capable. You are it. But you're looking in the wrong direction. That's all. It's that close. I hope you realize it's that close. It's not some arduous journey of how to find God. Stop leaving. That's something much, people sometimes say to me, but how do I think about God? How do I know what God wants? Don't even try that. That's just your mind. You know darn well that there are things inside of you that are not healthy, are not helping you get to this state we're talking about. Okay? Work with those. What do you mean? Try to let go. Now we're going to talk about what to do while you're not meditating. Stuff is going to come up inside of you all day. All day. I mean, even little stuff. The weather's not the way you want it to be. The driver in front of you's not driving the way you do. You got a scratch in your car. All kinds of things all the time. There's something going on inside of you that's distracting you from God. If you get upset because your new car parked somewhere and someone opened the door and it made a little scratch on there, you've just said, I care more about that scratch than God. Haven't you? If you want to go camping and you think that's going to be a beautiful spiritual experience with someone you really, really want to go on a date with and they want to go camping and it's cloudy out the night before and you're angst about it, you just said, I care more about going camping that I think might have a nice experience than I am about achieving a state of absolute well-being where no matter what the weather is, I'm in it, man. It's fine. Here comes the wind and the rain. Which one you want? That's what spirituality is challenging you. It's not renunciation. So what you do is you look and you will see that you are choosing to not be with God, or I'm calling God, I don't care if you're an atheist, it's fine. I'm calling God that river of ecstasy, the Holy Spirit, that which flows inside of you and feeds you. What did Christ say? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of God. What does that mean? You're not just getting high and well off the outside world. That's bread alone. You're feeling this inner flow of ecstasy, of joy, feeding you day and night. Which one you want? to be dependent upon everybody and everything to be the way you want to be okay? Or would you like to be eternally and infinitely well, period, not once you die, now? Okay? So you have to sit there and say, there's my answer to what to do while you're not meditating, is every minute of every day, close. Something's bothering you. Isn't it? Maybe it's not something somebody said or somebody did or somebody didn't do. It's what your mind is saying, what your heart is feeling, your past. Does your past ever bother you? Does your past ever bother you? Well, it's over. It's not even happening. How can it be bothering you? You're doing it to yourself. So what you do while you're not meditating is you look inside and you see what's keeping you from God. You don't have to read commandments or this or that or the other thing. You know darn well what's keeping you from God. That which keeping you from experiencing the ecstasy, now that I've told you it's inside of you, all right? What is keeping you from experiencing it? That which is distracting you from it. In other words, you. And again, that is exactly what Christ meant when he said you must die to be reborn. The Christians call it die to self. I have a very dear friend who's a very strict Baptist, and he told me they call it dying to self. That's what we're talking about. What does that mean, dying to self? You're willing to let go of yourself, not suppress it. Be willing to look at it all day as it's happening and say, am I willing to trade off being conscious of ecstasy in order to be conscious of the stupid part of me that's thinking about what happened 5 days ago when somebody didn't say hello or whatever. I dropped some ketchup on my pants. I had to go back to work, and it's bothered me ever since because I think people were looking at me and go on. Choose that over God. Choose that over feeling ecstasy all the time and loving the, oh, look at the ketchup, it's so cute. Look at it, it's absorbing into the pants. You get to do that? Who's stopping you? You. Who can stop you from doing that? Only you. You're doing it to yourself. And so what it means to wake up is to realize, wait, maybe I should be working with myself to not be distracted by that. By what? Start with the little stuff. The weather, the light change, the driver in front is not leaving their blinker, the little scratch here or there. Or the one I think, here's a good one. Oh, maybe it's too big. All right? Your first gray hair. Oh, that'll do it for sure. Soon they're going to be all gray. All right? Get with the program, will you? All right? And you start saying, I'm going to start working on myself. It's not a discipline. Is it a discipline if you like somebody and you try to see them? That's not a discipline. It's perfectly rational. Is it a discipline to not get upset by stupid stuff so you're not distracted away from the joy and the love and the purpose of your entire being? No, it's not. I don't like to call it sadhana. I don't call it spiritual practice. I call it rational. How's that? It's just a rational thing to do. Learn to not be distracted by stupid things that there's no reason to be distracted by. Hey, Sally, how you doing? She didn't say hello. Now, for the next hour, Sally's your friend. Well, why did she say hello? What did I do? Well, I said, maybe she was wearing earbuds. No, she never wears earbuds. And it's like, and you're on and on with your stupid mind being distracted from God to have those thoughts. Having fun yet? Come on, who's going to talk? All right. You don't have to tolerate that. You're a great being inside. You're just letting that distract your consciousness, like the heroin addict. Can a heroin addict get off of heroin? But they got to go through withdrawal. You need to go through withdrawal from the stupid stuff that you're distracted by so that you can't experience the fullness of your being. All right? How do you go through withdrawal? I teach it very simple. It's not very complicated. Stuff will come up. What stuff? The stuff that's in there. Nothing will come up that's not in there. You understand that? If she has trouble with her ex-husband, Paul, and the word Paul freaks her out every time she hears it, you don't. Not a single problem. Isn't that amazing? How did you get so high? All right? You just didn't store this garbage inside of you. Once you get distracted by it and it's uncomfortable, that's natural, right? The marriage wasn't so good and it'll feel good, you get divorced. Please get divorced, will you? Don't get divorced outside, but keep everything going on inside. You still have just as much trouble. You have an argument still going on inside your head. No, I can't go to the restaurant. Why? We used to eat there. Well, then you didn't get divorced. You left the impressions inside of you. You stored everything that ever bothered you inside of you. So you start understanding it's all about purification, but not wearing white and eating a certain way. Purification means I got this junk I stored inside of me and you did it. Your ex-husband didn't store that inside of you. No matter what husband or wife did, yes, it's a disturbance, but they're gone. So if it's still inside of you, you're doing it. There's no glue inside of you. There's nothing. It's empty. You're using your will to keep that inside. And so now it's distracting you. And that's why your mind distracts you so much, because it's always about the things that bothered you before, or the things that you want more again. That's why the great teachings, remember that one line from the third Zen patriarch, the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. And you know what I mean by the great way? The way of ecstasy, of oneness, of merger. Well, what do you mean for those who have no preferences? While you have a preference, you're distracted. Do your preferences distract you? You like this and don't like that. That kind of catch your attention, doesn't it? Well, then it's a true statement that the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences, isn't it? That's a very deep Zen Buddhist patriarch making a statement like that, okay? But how do you have no preferences? I told you, you don't try to get rid of your preferences. You get rid of the cause of your preferences, because you'll be very busy trying to get rid of your preferences, and you will suppress them. And I don't want any of that. Okay? I'm talking to deep, mature, spiritual people. It's not like, oh, there's a preference, I renounce it. It's just coming back, don't worry. You have to sit there and say, why do I have that preference? Not how do I get it or avoid it. Why do I have it? I have it because I'm not feeling joy. I'm not feeling love. And in my past, this made me feel worse. It made me feel better. So now I developed a preference to try and have those so I can feel better. That's the wrong direction. What you have to sit there and say is, what do I need to let go of inside of me so that I feel my joy again? And I'm fine with the world. I'm fine with the unfolding of everything. That's what it means. So you don't get rid of your preferences, you get rid of the cause of your preferences. Every single preference you have, and I know you won't believe this, you don't understand this. Every single preference you have is because something blocked inside of you from the past. That's what psychology means by man is the sum of learned experiences. If you had a job when you were young and it really turned you on, right? You don't know. You're still looking for that job. You're still looking for that car that turns you on. You're still looking for the little girl, little guy, right? I felt so much love in the 5th grade with that person, right? And I'm still looking for them. It doesn't matter who you're looking for. You're looking for them. So you stored that which turned you on, and you stored that which turned you off. And now your preference is, I want to experience something that reminds me of, is similar to, is like what turned me on, and I want to avoid anything that ever turned me off. That's what your preference is. Don't make them holy. There's nothing wrong with them. They're natural. It's natural that if you've blocked energy in this area, you don't want it to happen again. So you developed a whole preference system where you want to live, and the weather you like, and who you like, and what they look like, and whether they're blonde or redheaded. It's all, psychology says man's the sum of his learned experiences. That is the sum of your learned experiences. So you can go chasing after that if you want to, but you won't get anywhere. You're just compensating for your blockages. So when I sit there and say it's not about getting rid of your preferences, but getting rid of the cause of your preferences, the cause of your preferences are your blockages. Or what you stored inside from your past are now determining what you're looking for in the future. So what do? Don't worry about fighting with your preferences. Don't worry about renouncing. Don't worry about being embarrassed or ashamed. Just don't even deal with it at that level. Just come in here and see what is inside of me that I need to let go of. It's all about cleansing. That I need to let go of so that then I'm not distracted by it anymore. And people say, well, how do I know what it is and what I should do? It will be right in front of you every single moment of your day. What you're supposed to be working with next does not need a psychiatrist to go in there and dig it out and ask all kinds of questions. It'll be right in your face. Okay? I don't feel comfortable drinking from a water fountain. Why? There's a reason. You understand that? There's a reason. I don't want to talk about all the possible reasons, but there's a reason you can drink from one and you can't. I know you don't think that way. You think, I'm right. Of course you think you're right because your past experiences make that look right. If you had different past experiences, you wouldn't think twice about it. Okay? So don't argue with yourself. Don't try to rationalize it because it's the sum of your learned experiences. Your mind is. Your thoughts are. Your emotions are. The sum of your learned experiences. Your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. You have to be willing to sit there and say, when it comes up, give it a deep teaching. When it comes up, what do you mean? It bothered me, or I'm attracted to it, repulsed by it, that came up. Is this going to take me where I want to go? We do that in business. We have all kinds of decisions we make in business. How do we make them? Is this going to match the business plan? We don't sit there and just decide, I don't like it. I don't be involved in that business. You hear me? Just, I don't like it. I like that. It reminds me of my girlfriend. I'm going to throw you out. Get out of the meeting. You don't belong in the meeting. All right? You have to have a motive, an objective, a plan, and then you look to see what matches it. Well, we just talked about your plan being there's real beauty. No matter what you ever did, nothing you ever do can take that away, ever. It can just distract you from it. You understand that? Your sins distract you from it. There are things that you did that cause disturbance to you or other people. And whether you know it or not, they still distract you. They distract you. But if you're not distracted by it, if you let it go, that's what Christ said, I forgive your sins. Okay? That's why, thank God, you're not bound to the stupid stuff you did before you woke up. You're able to let go. You're able to let it go. And then your consciousness is not distracted by it. And the more you let go, the more joy you're going to feel, the more openness you feel. That's why spirituality works. That's why there's confession. That's why all these different things have a tradition. Don't leave that stuff in there. But how do I know what to work on next? It will tell you. How will it tell you? Because it is bothering you. Because it will come up. But it doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. Oh, it's meaningless. It is not meaningless. Anything that comes up and disturbs your energy flow and disturbs your mind and distracts you into it is worth working on. Anything. Well, how do you work on it? You work on it. I always teach you this. I like to say that you don't get it, but you do get it because you write me all the time. Change my life. Change my life. I didn't change anybody's life. Okay? If you practice letting go of yourself, it will change your life. It's all the teachings are all the same. So what do? I'm standing there. Sally didn't say hello. And my mind is afraid of rejection, right? We like no like rejection, do we? Afraid that I hurt somebody, afraid of this. But then I talk to somebody else and say I'm not nice. I told you, you're not just bothered by something that happens or what somebody thinks of you. You're bothered if you think that somebody else thought something that wasn't good about you and told somebody else, aren't you? Okay? You're in big trouble. That's big trouble. So what you do is you relax. It seems so simple, seems ridiculous, but those are the teachings. If something comes up and it gets a little weird in there, it does get weird in there, starts just doing that little thing, no matter how small it is, you relax. What do you mean? What people think I mean is I feel a little jealousy, feel insecurity, feel a little self-conscious, feel a little embarrassed, feel a little fear. I have to get it to relax. No. This is where you get to the deep teachings. Everything has its nature. The nature of fear is fear. The nature of jealousy is jealousy. The nature of insecurity is insecurity. You're not going to make insecurity not be insecure. You will not make fear not be fear. Now you who is observing it, you're not fear. You're just looking at fear. You've never been jealous any day of your life. But you have been distracted by jealousy, have you not? You're not embarrassed. You don't get embarrassed. But you are very aware that there's embarrassment in there. All right, your consciousness is drawn to the vibration that's happening. Just like color. Just because you see red doesn't mean you are red. See blue doesn't mean you're blue. They're objects of consciousness. But while you are distracted by them, you will feel them. That's where you are distracted by it. You don't say, I feel jealous, I'm jealous. Ooh, that's a terrible thing to say. Not that jealous is terrible, but to define yourself as what you're looking at. I'm the picture. No, you're looking at the picture. You're not the picture. So relax means you relax. Not what you're looking at has to relax. You relax. They don't know how to do it, but they find out very quickly they're perfectly capable of doing it. If you do it with the simple things, the driver in front of you, the rain, this or that, right? Just little things. And sit there and say, God, that's bothering me. It shouldn't bother me. That's stupid, right? Relax. You relax. You, the witness consciousness, relax. What will happen? You won't be pulled down into it. That's what relaxation. There's resistance. The opposite of resistance is relaxation. The opposite of resistance is relaxation. So if you are resisting what's happening, you're not relaxing. If you relax, you can't resist. Just like in yoga, if you have a posture and it's tight, what does the teacher tell you? Relax into it. That's what I'm telling you. Relax. Just you relax. Well, what will happen? It will do what it needs to do. It gets stronger when I don't push it away. Of course it gets stronger when you don't push it away. Just relax more. Just keep relaxing. Well, what if I feel tremendously attracted to something and I know I shouldn't be doing that, shouldn't need this or shouldn't do this or shouldn't get involved in that, but I feel this tremendous, relax. But I can't always do it. That's right, you can't always do it. Just do the best you can. There's a nice path. The best you can is always good enough. Period. Why? Because you can't do any better. So it's the best you can, right? You do the best you can. But what if I try to let go and then I eat it anyways? Just let go. Just keep letting go. You'll do better next time. Just keep letting go. It's like playing scales on a piano. What if I make a mistake? Just keep practicing. You're practicing going to God. That's what you're doing. When you practice letting go. So now I'm going to close up. Living untethered, what to do while you're not meditating. Let go. Relax through what's coming up. Because the fact that it's down there is why you need to meditate. If you keep relaxing, you're going to find out there's this natural joy. Meditation is nice. It can encourage it and have it more, fine. But I'm telling you, there's a natural joy going on inside of you that is so beautiful that you don't have to do anything. In fact, anything you do makes it stop, right? But it won't be there while you're busy being distracted by the garbage that you've stored inside. So you let go. Keep relaxing, let go. Relax and let go. Relax and let go. Relax and release. And then sometimes people write me and say, well, the relaxation I got, I understand. And release the energy, I understand. But you say lean back. A lot of people don't understand that when I say that, lean back. When you're in there and you're able to let go and relax, you're going to find out there's a space between what's pulling on you and where you are. Because you let go. There's more space. You have space, okay? You see it's down there pulling, but you're not being pulled. You understand that? You see it, but it's not pulling you. Lean back. You'll find out that you're there. You're in there. Instead of being pulled down, lean back. You're literally leaning back into the seat of self. So not just letting go of what's pulling you out. You're leaning back in. That is the returning to God. Very good. I hope you understand some of these things. I hope it helps. Jai Gurudev.